Newspaper this morning about the debt hoarder. They say the government borrows about 3.3 billion shillings on a day-to-day basis. We'll also be taking a look at the health sector as well. We've got the Social Health Authority, SHA, which is a new health insurance, knocking out the defunct NHIF. The affordable housing unit has also been in place. The capitation aspect of it, HELB says it is broke as of July. We're also having schools which are not receiving money from the government. So much really is happening around the President William Ruto's government. We'll be taking stock of that to just understand where we are as of now, with just about 2 years left of his regime. Now, to help me talk more about this issue, I'm joined by Wycliffe Alutalala on my immediate right, who is from the Champions for Ruto. Will be telling us a bit more about that as well. Thank you so much for your time this morning. And just next to him is Joyce Wamahu, who's a recipient of the Head of State Commendation, as well as a political commentator. Thank you very much, Joyce, for your time this morning.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Now, thank you, lady, gentlemen. Let's just, jump straight into it. Alutalala, 3 years later, what is the one thing from where you sit that has been a game changer, whether it's a policy in place, a decision that has been made by cabinet, that you feel this is a game changer and this is the way to go, at least 3 years later?
First of all, good morning and thank you for the invite.
You're welcome.
I think as we celebrate 3 years of President Ruto's presidency,
yeah,
I think there is a lot, and it may not be very clear to say this is the one thing that we can call a game changer, because there is a lot that is happening, and that actually, if you ask me, what the president has been able to deliver in 3 years is more than what President Uhuru delivered in 10 years. So as we delve into the debate, we shall be outlining those successes. So for me,
right,
there is a lot that cannot just be put in one sentence.
Right.
Yeah.
Joyce, from where you sit, is there anything that you'd be able to pinpoint or pick out and say this has changed the lives of Kenyans, has improved the economy, has improved the cost of living, has created employment for Kenyans, has bettered families? Is there anything specific?
Plus or minus, good morning, EBN family. I'm well. Allow me first to pass my condolences to the family of the late Dalmas, who passed on. Dalmas was an astute politician who did his politics across many years.
Right.
So to the family, to the Ruo Nyanza, to his friends, including 2 of my friends, kindly accept my condolences too. When we mention the game changers we've had of 3 years, we have literally negative game changers. So we are not looking on the positivity of it. We are looking into the cries of Wajiko. When Wajiko wakes up in the morning, Wajiko is always on the road complaining. And even when we celebrate the 3 years, literally what we've seen scenarios deteriorating from good to bad. So even as we celebrate the 3 years, Kenyans are out of regret literally on the kind of leadership and governance that this country is experiencing. Other than one, the affordable housing, we can see it is literally coming up. But other than the affordable housing, which has again been crowded with a lot of history that is not adding up, there's nothing to celebrate for the 3 years. Yes.
All right, now let me zero down to the headline on top of the Standard this morning that speaks of debt horror. 3.3 billion shillings is being borrowed per day. It is estimated that within this period that he has been in office, we've borrowed more than 3.4 trillion shillings, and he has got 2 more years to go. I mean, we were having a conversation just back screen about 2 ways the government gets money, and that is through taxation or through borrowing. And so isn't this just another option for the government, that they've got to borrow to be able to fulfill these promises that they made in 2022?
This country has not been active in enabling creation of business, creation of income. Because again, we cannot survive purely on borrowings. We need also to internalize our system whereby we are going to develop our own incomes, to boost our own incomes. Taxation is a way of boosting our incomes, but this taxation that we need to enact need to be in tandem with what is happening on the ground. Our businesses are flourishing in this country. No, why? Because the taxes are very, very high. We need, as a government, for the government to run, it will need to have some incomes. But this crazy borrowing of 2.29 per minute. Cynthia, we've been with you for the last 5 minutes. For the last 9 minutes, the president has already borrowed 2.3 times 8. If we are going to borrow 2.3 billion per minute, I mean 2.3 million per minute, what is this that we are doing with the 2.3 million that we are borrowing? We've only opened the schools last week. And what is the issue of the capitation? It's only yesterday, Cynthia, that 29 schools in Gatondo were closed down. Why do we have a lot of school unrest? Last week when we opened schools on Monday, 2 schools, one in Machakos and one in Nairobi, were taken to court. Why? The suppliers could not be paid. The government has said through the CS Finances, CS Education, that we cannot sustain education. In the past, when they took over, capitations to schools were paid timely. Out of about 22,000, 50% of the 22,000 was paid on first term. What have we seen on the last 3 years running? That capitation to schools have not been running. Education sector has grossly been affected by this government. Look at the university modeling funding, the strategy on the modeling funding. What is happening? When they were reporting for the first term for the freshers this year, there was a dream of the fees would go down, but the shocker was for the freshers when they reported that things were very different. Look at the health sector, Cynthia. Why do we have a lot of dramas with the SHA? 2 weeks back, we had a lot of frenzy on the routing at the SHA. We are happy that the number of registered beneficiaries of the health sector in this country has increased. Initially, NHIF had raw figures. This time round, SHA has a huge figure. But are we getting a reciprocal of the number against the service? Every day, we are waking up to a new story in Kenya that SHA is not footing a certain percentage of the expenses. So in essence, other than the debt horror, because I'll still call it the debt horror, the 3 billion per day, what is it that Wajiko can show? Much as we want to be antagonistic about the presidency, but what is it that deliberately President Ruto, are you showing Wajiko that I have 3.9 billion on my plate today? What is it? Is it the infrastructure in this country? Go to my country, in my county, in Nyandarua County, 018. We have had issues whereby we want to transport dead bodies, Cynthia. We are physically loading the coffin on our shoulders and we walk. At this day and age,
Are you saying that with the much borrowing that he's doing, he's not doing anything with the money?
Zero when the monies have been borrowed. It's only last week, Cynthia. Let us not suffer from selective rethinking and remembering. It's only last week. The Auditor General told us that every day the State House is using 2 million for printing. What is this that we are printing? What are our priorities? State House, what is this scope of business that you are doing to print? Why don't you have your priorities right? That allow push for the basics like this is the education, the health. Then anything else is secondary.
All right, we'll come to the expenditure part of it. Alutalala, I'd love to get your view, because between 2017 and 2022, the former president borrowed 4.1 trillion shillings in total. Now, for President William Ruto, as of 2025, he's borrowed more than 3.4 trillion shillings. That's averagely 1 trillion shillings every fiscal year. Doesn't that just direct us to the part that by the time he gets to 2027, he'll have amassed about 5 trillion shillings in total debt, which is much more higher than the second term's debt status of former President Uhuru Kenyatta?
Now, first of all, I think I need to correct an impression that is being created here by my friend here, that despite the allegedly heavy borrowing, there is nothing to show for it. I don't believe that is accurate. There is a lot of work that is being done in this country, and for the first time, I can tell you, government projects are spread across the country. There is no single county that you go and you don't find any project, be it affordable housing, be it roads, be it agriculture. There is something going on everywhere. So for us to insinuate that there is nothing going on in this country, I think is a bit unfair. Now, on the issue of borrowing, first of all, I find that headline a bit scary. And scary to the extent that, you see, you cannot, you know, when we talk of a horror, the word horror is a bit, I don't know how to describe it.
Maybe it was used figuratively?
But, no, but whether you are doing it figuratively, you know, as a country, the media needs to be a bit fair and patriotic. You know, this country belongs to all of us. And when you say like we are living in a horror country, then what are you telling even the people you intend to invite as investors? Are you saying that this country is now has reached a level whereby even surviving is not possible? I don't think we are in that state. First of all, what I want to say, looking at this headline, you will see that the headline is comparing President Ruto's term with Kibaki. I find that being a bit cunning, because the economy of Kenya today is not the economy of Kenya in 2002 when Kibaki took over. It is not even the economy of Kenya in 2013 when Kibaki was leaving office. So for us to start comparing the Kenyan economy today and Kibaki's economy, I find it a bit cunning. If we are genuine, we need to be comparing this economy with the last regime. And even the borrowing, we need to compare it with the last regime. Now, when you talk about borrowing, it is not a crime. Because as you rightly put it, government only gets funds through two ways. It is either through borrowing or through taxation. Now, you will remember that in the year 2024, when the government came up with the finance bill, there was a huge uproar that led to the Gen Z protests. And the issue was the taxes were so high. That finance bill was quashed, and we went back to the 2023 finance bill. Now, come to 2025. If you read the budget estimates, the budget, actually not the estimate, the budget that was passed, the 2025-2026 budget, there has been a lot of downsizing of the budget. And a lot of things that were initially taxed were actually, the taxes were lowered. So what that means is that as a country, we have a budget deficit. The only way you can top up that budget deficit is through borrowing. Now, borrowing is actually meant to do projects. And if you ask me, there are a lot of infrastructure projects that are going on. For example, we are currently talking about one of the projects that is actually listed in this newspaper is the Talanta project, which is actually, they issued a bond of 45 billion Talanda is ongoing. And by next year mid, we'll be launching that ground. So you can't say that is a misplaced borrowing. The borrowing is clear, it was meant for Talanda, and Talanda is ongoing. The SGR from Naivasha all the way to Kisumu and to Malaba, the process is already ongoing.
But if you go back to something that the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi said a couple of years ago on just the road construction, massive projects that Uhuru was taking, he questioned, will Kenyans eat roads? And so I'd love to also pose the same questions. Would Kenyans really care about the infrastructure if they're not able to necessarily put food on their table to get employment?
Now, Madam Wamahiwi has just complained about the difficulty they're having in their area to move. That tells you, for you even to get that food, you need a good road. For you to sell whatever you are producing in your own farm, you need a good road. So we can never delink good roads with economic development.
Okay.
Whether it is, because how does one get food? It is through working. Working includes doing business. So for you to do business, you need to move. So infrastructure is key to economic development. So when we talk about government investing in infrastructure, vis-a-vis the economic effects,
right,
they always go hand in hand. So for me, I don't see a problem with the borrowing. What we need to ask ourselves is, what is the money doing? Because borrowing has always been there. In fact, I remember when President Ruto took over, the biggest problem and the outcry that we had was the issue of public debt.
Okay.
And many people had written Kenya off. They were saying he would not even go for 3 months. You remember that statement? Because the debt was so high, and even IMF had actually said that Kenya was now at risk of not honoring its financial obligations. But because President Ruto is a man on a mission to transform this country, 3 years down the line, Kenya has never been unable to service its public debt.
All right.
So that tells you we are doing well.
Okay. Now, as much as we're talking about debt, there's also the question of how can the country manage its revenue? Because if we are going to get, let's say, 2.1 trillion shillings from the Kenya Revenue Authority, then the management of this revenue is critical in terms of also ensuring that we curb on corruption, that we are actually getting the infrastructure that we need, and that the money is being spent appropriately. And so in terms of managing the country's revenue, we've seen corruption cases that have sprung up over the past couple of weeks concerning the Social Health Authority. And so this brings us back to the question on is the money that people are paying as taxes actually being used for what it's meant to do? And then I can also talk about, we can bring in the e-procurement, which is meant to also streamline this revenue. But from where you sit, has he effectively managed to curb corruption, at least for these 3 years?
No, not literally. But allow even me, before I comment on that one, allow me to just remind my brother that yes, we need to borrow for us to enhance more on the capital infrastructure that we have. But what has the government been doing in terms of the monies borrowed? The wastage, like Cynthia, we've said it's very, very high. The issues on corruption is on a top level. When the late Kibaki was leaving the office, he had about 3 advisors. And when the President Ruto swore on 13th of March, no, 13th of March, September, sorry, 13th of September, he swore to bring a lot of, he gave us very rosy picture. And even for some of us who never voted in, we had a moment to keep quiet and listen to what you tell us. That I'll bring down, I'll bring down, I'll bring down. Today, my brother Wycliffe will tell you that from the 3 advisors we had, today we have 22 advisors, each earning a salary of about 2 million. So initially, we had a budget, say, assuming factors constant, we had three people who are earning a salary of 2 million. But today, 10 years after, or even 3 years after he took over, we have 22 people who are earning salary in terms of advisors. 2 weeks back, we saw at the National Assembly, the IG was asked by the NPS, to hand over the payroll. Right. What did he do? He refused. Why? The issue of ghost workers, Cynthia, the issue of the recurrent expenditure in this country is shooting through the roof. Inflating of the employees that we are paying. Look at even the counties that we are coming from. Initially, you took over when you had a workforce of about 10,000. Today, you have a workforce of about 20,000. If you are asked to do an audit, a HR audit, against the employees that you have, you cannot account. So our recurrent expenditure is shooting through the roof, deliberately. So it is not even employees who are being employed so that they can bring money now back to their homes, so that we have some movement of some mobility and movement of monies in our pockets. No, it is monies that is being stolen from Wajiko's past and is being given to a few. When that story of SHA came up and 101 files were forwarded to the DPP, the old DPP, then what happened? We've not had anything. Cynthia, for a file to be crossed over and handed to Cynthia or to Wycliffe for action, within 9 days, the lifespan of any forensic audit, you're supposed to have concluded. Even before you conclude that file, we already had the information. From the DHA, they knew that this person had claimed so much. So even in essence of taking us 9 days, 10 days down the line, it is a show, and it is a diversionary strategy that is being used by this government. Why? Because they do not want to account. If you ask any health service provider, an actual person who offered some sales service, they will tell you that their claims were not honored. But for these people who are fictitious, their claims were honored. When they said that we are closing down on hospitals that have been making falsified claims, whom have we seen being summoned and taken to court? Zero. So in essence, this is only a government. The government that we have today, Cynthia, is a talking government. But when it comes to an action government, we do not have a government that can do what they're talking about. And that is where Wajiko has a problem.
Right.
Yes.
Alutalala, this corruption monster, you cannot arrest the act. You can only arrest the perpetrators, corrupt individuals, persons that have been taken to a corridors of court. They have been found guilty. Has that been seen over these 3 years? Have we seen milestone cases that we can say, oh, this particular individual who was found guilty of corruption-related charges has been prosecuted and has been sentenced to prison and, taxpayers' money returned one way or the other? Have we seen that?
Now, first of all, before we come to that, the level of hypocrisy in this country is on another level. And at times you listen to Kenyans and you wonder, are we really in the same country? And are we really talking about the same thing? For example, when you talk about corruption, I think the issue of corruption in this country has not started with this government. Okay. So as we try to sacrifice the current government on corruption, can we do an audit of the last government, for example? What were the achievements of the last government in fighting corruption? If you ask me, it was nil. Reason being, now, many of the things that you hear President Ruto being accused of today are not actually even his interventions. They are interventions that were supposed to have been done long time ago, but there was no goodwill from the political class. For example, today, this e-procurement thing, right. In the year 2008, the late President Kibaki, actually, the issue of IFMIS
started in the year 1998.
True.
And it was rolled out in 2013. Now, when the IFMIS was rolled out, it was about integrating all our financial management systems. And it had several modules, from accounting to reporting to procurement and everything. In the 10 years of President Uhuru's term, President Uhuru issued 3 executive orders. The first one was on 15th March 2013, directing all government agencies to move to e-procurement. The next executive order was in 2014, August. In that executive order of 2014, August, he actually gave all government agencies 1 week to transition to e-procurement. The last executive order was in 2018, September, where he directed all government agencies to transition to e-procurement as from 1st January 2019. That was never done. So if we were to talk about a government of talking and not actioning, it was the Uhuru government. Why are people angry with the Ruto? People are angry with Ruto because when he says something, he follows it up. And I can assure you, this e-procurement will happen.
Why are governors against it?
Why are governors and MPs, not just governors, even MPs are against it? Reason? In this country, we've heard of this statement called budgeted corruption. Budgeted corruption means a budget is made with already an inflated, and it is an inflated budget, and by the time it is being executed, already money is being lost. Who spends this money? It is the governors, the MPs. So how do they steal this money? Government money is spent through procurement. So the manual system of procurement has been working in favor of these people who are spending this money. That is the MPs, that is the governors, and all the government officers who are in that department. That is how MPs and governors have been doing tenders with government through proxies. So the reason why these people are against the e-procurement is because with e-procurement, every detail of that process can be tracked down.
So is this the right step to the right direction?
That is the right step to fight corruption, because corruption starts through procurement in government. If we are to do away with the manual procurement, I can assure you we are going to save a lot of money. And that is where the problem between governors and MPs is coming from with the president.
Right. Joyce, you seem to agree.
Severally, it is the truth that most of the corruption is meted at, not at the Wajiko level, but at these red carpeted offices. So even when the contenders of these instructions are refusing because they've seen that they've been caught, and they are resisting, the work of the act itself, because the government is only trying to enhance the Public Procurement and Disposal Act by now trying to internalize and bring together all these systems. It will be fought, for sure. But again, even the fighters will still bring down questions in there and Wycliffe in this room. E-Citizen, who are the platform owners? EGP, who are the platform owners? You know, we have a good policy that is in place in there in Wycliffe. But behind the scenes, there's a lot of disclosure that has not been done. And not unless Wajiko understands all this information, then Wajiko is going to resist. We saw 2 weeks back in there about e-Citizen. We can no account. 3 weeks back, e-Citizen have been down. When Wajiko started realizing, Kube, we've been paying all our services have been channeled to one platform. This platform, Cynthia, for your information, is not owned by the government. It's not operated by. a department in the government, it is operated by 3 Kenyans or even 4 Kenyans. That is where. Now, for any policy that is crowded by doubts, much as we want to support President Ruto in fighting corruption, if we do not have what we call the head-to-head disclosure, then it will be fought. If President Ruto wants Wajiko to assist him in managing the EGP, if disclosure will not be done, then we still go back to the games of the musical chairs, like what we have with the citizens. So, in essence, we need to curb this corruption, this monster called corruption, but we can only do it when we come to the table on green cards.
Right.
I support what President Ruto is doing in terms of corruption, but again, some of his cases are deliberate, and some of them are literally stage managed. Like last 2 months back, we saw the going to Trans Nzoia. They went with all the dramas at Trans Nzoia, at the governor's, the county's office. They brought all the charges against Governor Natebea, bra. What happened 1 month thereafter? The allegations were dropped. Then why did we have to waste a lot of energy and drama and publicity? It shows somebody wanted to pass some message, because if in essence, there were corruption allegation charges against George Tebea, they will still hold even after 10 days or 30 days. Last week we saw another dramatic issue of the MCS in Nairobi. A day before, they had given us a good show of the hills with what is airing in Nairobi County.
Right.
Then a day after, they were called to State House, and they said we can work together. What is this that we are trying to sanitize? Are we trying to sanitize corruption? That in the hearts of Wycliffe, corruption is corruption. In the hearts of Joyce, corruption is a PR activity. This is what Cynthia and Wycliffe, this is what Wajiko is against. If it is the issue of the word corruption, the definition, the English meaning of the word definition, corruption of, the definition of corruption, let it stand as it is. Let it not operate as double standards in the mouth of Cynthia, it's something else, but in the hearts of Wycliffe, it's something else.
All right. I'd love us to switch to matters agriculture, because agriculture contributes about 70% of the country's gross domestic product. And so it plays a critical role as well in the country's economy. Now, if you take stock of at least the last 3 years, the government has been able to lower the cost of fertilizer, has been able to increase the number of farmers, maize farmers in the country, is in the process of privatizing sugar factories, as well as has been able to put up a policy to enable the direct sale of tea to international buyers. But I'll come to the public-private partnership agreements that are set to roll out the privatization of sugarcane factories in the country. Well, a section of legislators have refuted those kind of talks, but at the same time we are having, for instance, Mara Sugar has not been able to pay its workers. We are having Nzoia Sugar as well has not been able to pay its workers. And so if this is such a good thing, why are legislators against it?
No, first of all, before I come to that, let me clarify that this issue about the fight against corruption, the biggest problem in this country I've had two. Number one, we have had the issue of lack of political goodwill. And number two, we have had the problem of politicization of the fight against corruption. Now, politicization of the fight against corruption is both ways. We have had cases whereby we have had claims of the weaponization of EACC, and also there is a big danger on the part of the citizenry and the political class, because you find that when a politician is arrested, without even going into the details of the arrest and the details of the allegations, we always, first of all, say that is a political witch hunt.
Right.
So now you wonder, on one side, we are saying, Kenya, we have a problem with corruption. But on the other side, when the same corruption tries to be fought, we always say our person is being targeted because of political reasons. We've seen it many times. We saw it when Waititu was arrested. We saw it during Songo days. We saw it when Kimani Wamatangi was arrested. Literally everyone. Even the other day when the former governor of Bungoma, Wangamati, was arraigned before EACC. He literally said it is Wetangula who was fighting him politically. So now the question is, as a country, we need to ask ourselves the hard questions. Is corruption real in the country? Yes. Is there a need to fight it? Yes. How do we fight it? Because we cannot be saying corruption is a problem, but on the other hand, we are saying this person is being fought politically. And we have always had this notion that the weakest link in the fight against corruption is the judiciary.
Right.
So if you look at it, corruption cannot be fought by one person, or corruption cannot be fought by one agency. Corruption needs the goodwill of every Kenyan. Because even we as the electorate, we must reach a point where we say, if someone has been found to be corrupt, it doesn't matter who he is or who she is to you. Let the law take its course, so that we can ask the judiciary why these people are being set free with all the evidence that is available. But now the problem is, we blame government for doing nothing about corruption, but when corruption is fought, we put politics at the expense of real facts. Now, on the issue of agriculture, this country is doing well in terms of agriculture. You will realize when President Ruto came in, there was a huge cry about the issue of subsidies. Because you remember by then, the former president had subsidized fuel, and he had actually even a subsidy for unga.
Right.
Which, according to President Ruto, was not sustainable, and which I agree with him. You cannot sustain consumption forever. So what the president decided was to subsidize production. And the effect has been tremendous. In the year 2022, Kenya produced 40 million bags of maize. In the year 2024, the last harvest,
Right.
Kenya produced 65 million bags of maize. This year, the projection is 75 million bags of maize that is going to be produced. You will realize that nobody is talking about the price of unga. And in this country, when you hear nobody talking about something, no, it is happening and it is good. So what is happening here is that government has really invested in agriculture, including the PPPs. For example, the famous Galana Gulalu. We've had like 2 companies that have been given some land there through the private-public partnerships. One company has been given around 12,000 acres. Actually, that one is already on site. In fact, their first harvest is coming this year, where we are expecting around 750,000 bags of maize and 150,000 bags of, how do we call it? Is it called blue grams or whatever? So that is one. There is another company from Dubai that has been given around 800,000 acres. They are still setting up. And we expect this country already, by next year, we shall be food sufficient.
Right.
And by 2027, I can assure you, Kenya will be exporting food. We'll be having enough for the country and then more to export. So in terms of agriculture, we are doing well.
Right.
Coffee prices, tea prices, she's from those areas. She can confirm the prices are better than what we found when President Ruto came in. They are doing well. For the Westerners, the issue of factories is another topic which we need to discuss after this. So in terms of agriculture, I can tell you President Ruto has delivered.
All right, Joyce.
In terms of agriculture, we've had myriad of challenges that other than what is beyond the government policies, the poor soils, but generally for the last 2-3 years, agriculture has been on an upward trend. Considering that we even had fake fertilizer that had been given to Wajiko, and it affected the maize production in Kiambu like for a whole year. But luckily for those people who never got the chance to use the fake fertilizer, God was again good enough that He gave us good rains and good skills that that people still harvested a lot of maize. Basically, agriculture, even if we were to rate that sector in terms of the 3 years,
Yeah.
other than the issue of the fake fertilizer, the fake seeds, because again we had the fake and very poor seeds that were being distributed. I'm sure even if I said it was deliberate, Wycliffe would jump very, very high. But the distribution of the fertilizer again was not in tandem with the number of acreages, the number of households. Come to Nyandarua, it's only 3,000 bags were distributed. Go to areas that perhaps I would say politically friendly areas, they were given a lot of fertilizers. God in His own way, Cynthia, knows how to balance these equations.
What do you mean?
God in His own way knows how to balance these equations. These places that have not benefited from fertilizer subsidies, crop production have been very, very high.
Like what places?
Like even the Kiambu County, like Buraga County, like Nyeri County. Distribution of fertilizer today, even if we were to get our data from the Ministry of Agriculture in terms of fertilizer distribution, this time around we received very low numbers.
Are you saying Mount Kenya region?
I'm saying a bit of the rich agricultural areas, because again it's not the whole of Mount Kenya that is rich in agriculture. Nyandarua, we do not use a lot of fertilizer. Why? We have a lot of the manure, because of we are rich in milk, so we have a lot of animal manure. We have an issue of integrity in terms of the Ministry of Agriculture. Why? Look at it is a devolved function. The county governments that have been given the honors of enabling the extension officers to come to the farmers to discuss with them how the methods of improving the soils, the animal welfare, the technology, the new farming technology that is coming up. It is only private sector that have been very, very active in terms of enriching the minds of farmers on how to improve. Look at Wabogo Farm, for example. Each and every month, once in every month, people travel all the way to Nyeri at Wabogo Farm to go and read, to go and run. But we have county governments, and agriculture is devolved. So why travel all the way to Nyeri when, in essence, Nairobi County, Kiambu County, Nyeri County, Nyandarua County can have its own Wabogo farms, those small farms that people can run. So the issues, some of the problems that we are pushing to the national government are not literally the honors of the national government. Here, even at times, even when this country is celebrating 3 years from the new leadership, other factors and other forces are contributing towards the red down for the president. So at times we do not report the bad image to the president.
Right.
The county government again has also played a major role in terms of bringing down services to 190, because the government cannot do everything. The government cannot even manage so much of the agriculture. But 90% of what is happening today, rice is already with the county. And why it's not for the goodwill of the 190, goodwill of the 190, then things will be different.
All right. Allow us to take a quick break. But when we come back, I'd love us to touch on just the changes as well in governance, because we've got a new deputy president, and this perhaps was not feasible in about 2 years ago. So when we come back, that conversation continues. I can see your feedback that is coming in. We'll be able to sample that as we continue with the show. So stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
Are you ready for an uplifting experience? On Your Faith Today, dive deep into the life-changing message from the Word of God. Join Reverend Felix Kavoy as he shares powerful insights that will inspire, encourage, and strengthen your faith.
It is one thing to receive a prophetic word. It is another thing altogether to see that prophetic word come to pass in your life.
But that's not all. Experience special sessions of worship that will stir your soul and draw you closer to God.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
Refreshing Times is here. Join us every Wednesday from 8:30 p.m. on EBN TV as Bishop J.B. Masinde of Deliverance Church International Umoja brings you messages of timeless wisdom, spiritual guidance, and heartfelt encouragement to uplift your spirit and renew your faith.
You are not what people said about you. You are not what you do. You are not what you wear. You are what God says about you. Somebody say amen.
Refreshing Times, where faith meets life, only on EBN TV. Refreshing Times is here. Join us every Wednesday from 8:30 p.m. on EBN TV as Bishop J.B. Masinde of Deliverance Church International Umoja brings you messages of timeless wisdom, spiritual guidance, and heartfelt encouragement to uplift your spirit and renew your faith.
You are not what people said about you. You are not what you do. You are not what you wear. You are what God says about you. Somebody say amen.
Refreshing Times, where faith meets life, only on EBN TV.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching Morning Live. The conversation continues. President William Ruto at 3, the scorecard, at least what he's been able to do so far 3 years into his term, 2 more years left. And we've been having this conversation right from the top of the hour. I can see your feedback coming in. We'll be able to sample that just as we conclude. But ladies and gentlemen, let me bring in matters governance now and the big changes we've seen at the executive for the last 1 year or so, I'd say, with a new deputy president coming in place. That is now Professor Kithure Kindiki, as well as the broad-based government, where we've had experts from ODM party join government. Has the broad-based government achieved what it was meant to achieve 1 year later?
Okay, first of all, before I come to that, let me just put up a rejoinder on something that Madam said before he went on break about agriculture and the way the fertilizer was distributed. Now, one thing that I know about the fertilizer that was distributed was that for the first time, for a long time in this country, government has never had a database of farmers. And government was relying on manual, just the ordinary way of someone walking into the store and buying fertilizer, saying, I have this number of acres, I want this number of bags, and buying. So
that is why you will realize that the first distribution of fertilizer was not even across the country. So what did government do? Government came up with a digital database for farmers. All farmers were required to register with government so that you are known, you are a farmer in this area, this is what you are doing, this is your acreage and everything.
Right.
And from that, government is now able to know how much fertilizer is required in what region and how many number of farmers are there. So what I know is that what she's saying might have happened during the first disbursement,
Okay.
but going forward, that is now a thing of the past, because now government has a database for all farmers in the country.
Okay.
Then on the issue of SHA, there is the issue of SHA, there is this outcry about non-payment of claims to hospitals. There is one thing we need to know, that at the time NHIF was being changed to SHA, NHIF had a pending bills of 30 billion. So what government did when they came up with the SHA system, all these bills were put on hold. Reason? Government said that they are not going to pay bills without verification. And that has been ongoing. 2 weeks ago, we saw the CS Health Honorable Duale present a list of 1,818 hospitals that had what we call frivolous claims, ranging from converting outpatient to admissions, inflating bills, and all manner of craftiness. Now, what we are waiting for is to see how many of those hospitals and how many of those people will be prosecuted. Because as a country, we must reach a point whereby we move from just making statements to action. For example, if we are saying that a ghost hospital was paid 10 million, there is nothing like a ghost hospital. Because for you to be in the database of NHIF or SHA, you must be a company registered in Kenya. Meaning, this company can be traced to the register of companies. So the directors are known. So if this person registered a hospital and submitted his papers to NHIF or SHA and said that he's having a 150-bed SITA, the bed capacity hospital, and he was paid money, we can't call that ghost. These people are known. They have to be prosecuted. So on the issue of SHA, SHA is doing well. The noise we are hearing about is from the people who are benefiting from SHA fraudulently. The other day I was listening to the chairman of the RUFA, the Rural and Urban Private Hospitals Association. He said they submitted to SHA total bills amounting to 78 billion. They have been paid 57. The remaining, around 40 or something, 25, the government is saying 15% of those bills.
21 billion left?
Yes, are not genuine. So they are being verified. So my question is, if truly you know that your bills are genuine, your hospital is genuine, your hospital has everything, why should you have a problem with the verification of the bill? That tells you government is right, that we cannot pay bills without verification. So that is done. Now, let me come to the issue of governance. First of all, I want to say that I think there is a saying which says two people cannot work together if they are not in agreement. So the issue of the former deputy president who was impeached, I think it was the best thing ever. Because from the day we had a new deputy president, we've seen more cohesion in government. We've seen two people working together with respect and a lot of consultation and a lot of... They have really bonded well. If you look at the way the deputy president is working, and the way the president is working, there is a lot of cohesion. Now, with the coming of the broad-based government and their experts, as you put it, we've seen tremendous job being done in government, because these are people who are on the other side, who are actually opposing government. And the funny part is that most of those experts were actually put in sectors they were so loud on. For example, my former governor, Paranya, was so loud against Hustler Fund. Now today, he's in charge of the Hustler Fund, because the Hustler Fund is under the Ministry of Cooperatives.
Yeah.
My friend Buddy was really loud on the economy. He's now in charge of the economy. My friend Opio and I once said that the taxes on fuel are too high. They need to be lowered. He's now in charge of that ministry. So what is now left is that these guys need to bring to the expertise, and we have seen it already. For example, Buddy is doing well. He has been firm, and he has been forthright. Actually, Buddy goes on record as the first CS Treasury to have engaged the members of public on the budget discussions. It has never happened. In fact, the CS Treasury that we have always had have never been engaging the public. But you remember, Buddy even went to Jivanji, and he was asked questions by members of public about the budget, and he was able to answer. He has done public participation, these town hall meetings, and he has been coming. So we are seeing a lot of change in terms of governance. So for me, the changes that were made, the new deputy president, the broad-based government is delivering.
Okay, Joyce, your views.
Before I go to my views on the broad-based, of course I have a lot of issues. Allow me to put a rejoinder on what my brother Wycliffe mentioned about the SHA payments to SHA. And it is on record that monies was paid out. Monies was paid out on fraudulent claims. It was paid out. So who received these fraudulent claims? This is what the elephant in the room. This is what Wadiko want to know. 66 million was paid to Ashanti Hospital in Madeira. And Kenyatta Hospital received the 70 million. So these 66 million that was paid out, why have we not seen the directors, the account holders being taken to court? Why? Much as we have a lot of very thoroughly data about the amount of claims paid out, outstanding. For that one sharing that was stolen from SHA, bona hakuna mtu amepelekwa kotini. That is the elephant in the room. If you are going to address the issues of corruption, like what Wycliffe said some time back, let the talk be followed by the action. If in essence you want Wajiko to honor you, to remember you for the good deeds, after the payments were made, then the following day we realized that those claims were fraudulent. We expected persons to roll. We expected heads to roll. But we've not seen heads to roll. We have not seen heads rolling. So that's another strategy of the Kenya Kwanza government trying to divert attentions, because for every ministry that the CS Health has gone, we've had scandals after scandals. So even on this one, we are ready for it.
Okay.
On broad-based government, I'm happy that the members from the ODM, because these are not the opposition, the members from ODM moved over to the members of Kenya Kwanza. And the members of the opposition, we are still stronger than we were before. I think God in his own way brought out the spoilers, because spoilers were for that party. And now we have a better version of the opposition. Why? Because we even have now the young energies. These young energies on 25th of June last year asked the head of the party leader of ODM, kindly stay aside so that we can manage.
The issues on the 2024 finance bill, of course, he refused to hear, he refused to listen, and so many things bad happened. On the issues of the broad-based government,
Right.
what do we have benefits? Yes and no. Some persons have been moved from the parliament to the executive. That is good. So we expect the likes of Wycliffe will go to vie in where my friend, the CS Energy was. So at least some employment is coming. This one moves, and then somebody else will come. In terms of the salaries, again, they've increased. But in terms of management of this country, persons who moved in from the broad-based, who joined the government from the broad-based, I think God in his own way requested President Ruto to put these persons in very key sectors so that we can see how they are going to behave and how they are going to operate. We've seen the education sector has collapsed under the new broad-based structure. We've seen the CS Treasury. In his own, when he went to the National Assembly to answer some questions, he said, Kenya, this country cannot manage the education sector. That has never been mentioned. It was only mentioned by a member of the broad-based government. So even to the President Ruto himself, I think he also finding that, anyway, broad-based government, yes, it was good to embrace them for the political tension to go. But in terms of service delivery, they are yet to capture anything. Go to my friend, the king of Mulima, who was brought down, and we brought in Kidiki. We've seen the State House have moved now, the Wajiko have now moved from the ground. The weekly functions at State House. It's only last week, the Auditor General told us that every day, 17 million go for preparation of tea. That is a warning statement to India. And that is the cost of bringing in now Kidiki. Professor Kidiki now moving from Gachagua to Kidiki. We've seen the reduction of the political heat, because initially there was a lot of political heat in this country between the president and the deputy president. But in terms of the second in command now, we've seen now some working phobia. They can blend, you can even see it from the body language. They are walking, they are talking. But in essence, for the one who was there, they were never talking, they were never working. Positively, I've seen, I think, Professor Kidiki has brought some right and some warmth now into the leadership of this country.
Okay.
But he has a wrong way to go, because we want to see service delivery. We do not want to see force pikipikis and motorcycles that are being presented and assembled at State House. Yet we do not have a beneficiary. Okay. We do not have a young man who can say that, anyway, I've received this motorcycle. Okay. The only person that we can hail in this country who brought in a lot of motorcycle, who brought in a lot of the tricycle, is the Oscar Sudi. Nobody else in this country, even President Ruto himself, though this drama and grammar that we've been seeing at State House, all those items were never given to Ajiko. It is only Oscar Sudi who managed to bring,
okay, we have
to empower, right. to empower. So, in terms of broad-based government, they are here to capture the hearts of Wajiko.
All right, now 30 seconds, Alutalala, as we wrap it up.
It is very wrong for Madam here to insinuate that the economic empowerment programs are not happening. I'm a member of a group called Swomol Initiative in Kibra. Swomol Initiative is a group that has over 700 members. And we were part of the team that went to State House. My officials went to State House, and we are a beneficiary of that program. We got a tent, 100-seater tent with 100 chairs. I have a friend of mine who has a group in Embakasi East. They also got the same seats. So it is not true that whatever happened at State House was a scam. There are groups that have benefited from this thing. But because you want to politicize everything, we want to make it look like nothing is happening. But what I agree with her is that she admits that there is now a working chemistry between the president and the deputy president, which is good for the country. Thank you.
All right, Joyce, in 30 seconds.
I wish to hail the president for the 3 years, even as he prepares to celebrate 3 years. There's much that this country expects from him. He should lead from the front, and governance and leadership should be on his daily diary. Kenyans need services. Wajiko want education and health sector. Other sectors can come in place. But President, our kids have reported to school this daily term. Capitation for 2 years running have not been paid out. Kaidre, when you settle, as you prepare your 3rd year, please make sure that capitation have been paid out to schools.
All right. Thank you very much, lady, gentlemen. This morning on my immediate right, Wycliffe Alutalala, who's the national chairman of the MM Champions for Ruto. By the way, what does MM stand for?
MM Champions for Ruto is a group of Kenyans who are working towards pushing for President Ruto's re-election. And our task basically is to explain what government is doing on the ground.
All right.
Just like I've explained here.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Joyce Wamahu, who's a political commentator, as well as a recipient of the Head of State commendation. Thank you so much, both of you, for your time this morning. Just to sample 2 feedbacks, we've got one gentleman who says he's enjoying the show or the conversation from Mountain View, agrees that for there to be development, good roads and infrastructure must be in place. And we're also having one gentleman, Brian Alusa, who says, I'm really hoping the e-procurement comes to life. There's a lot of corruption these governors and MPs are doing in their respective counties and constituencies. For us to tame corruption, we need to have death penalty for those who are found to be corrupt. So that is a view that has come in as well this morning. So thank you so much for watching and for your time this morning. I hope you're duly informed and updated as well as just up to date with the conversation this morning. So in 5 years or in 5 days, President William Ruto will be marking 3 years in office. And so a lot of conversation will be gearing up towards that. Thank you for watching. I'm Cynthia Nanjala. Have yourself a wonderful morning.
Thank you.